Thank you, Adam. A recent report by Deloitte Access Economics says, as Australia's largest and most global city, the functioning and performance of Sydney is a paramount concern, not only for its many residents, but for the country as a whole. Indeed, the city occupies a focal point in terms of Australia's broader commercial and cultural landscape and our engagement with the rest of the world. In the City of Sydney alone, economic output is forecast to reach $100 billion this year, and from an area that's only 26 square kilometres in size. By 2030, it's expected to reach $166 billion, two-thirds growth in real terms. The residential population is forecast to be 250,000, growth of approximately 65,000 people. And the working population is expected to grow to over 460,000 workers, an increase of approximately 70,000. Achieving this growth won't be easy. Some industries are facing serious challenges. Bricks and mortar retailers and the exchange rate exposed sectors of tourism and education. But the continuing growth of our residents is an advantage. City residents help to drive a more vibrant commercial and cultural environment, demanding an increasing variety of dining, retail and entertainment options. We know that a lively and vibrant city that is attractive to residents is also one that visitors want to come to. It's a city that professional workers, so important to our economy, want to work in. It's also the sort of city that's attractive for business. However, having more residents and workers in the city will place pressure on our transport system and how we share the space. The transformation of George Street gives us the sort of main street that other global cities have and which Sydney needs. Importantly, it provides opportunities for growth, particularly for retail and hospitality businesses, because it allows more people to move between more businesses more easily. As someone who comes into the city every day, I know what it feels like to push my way through the crowds of people on George Street. Research shows that visitors are deterred by these crowds. Our businesses are losing potential customers because of this. To quote from one of the participants in the research, "It's not pleasant to walk on George Street. It's very crowded and I tend not to look at the shops. I just pass them." We know that to attract shoppers, a retail area needs good public transport links, good pedestrian access, and for people to feel safe. Other cities around the world have focused on pedestrians. In New York, Broadway was partially closed to traffic and more space dedicated to pedestrians. The amenity improved, and it needed to. Before the closure, 68% of people working around Times Square said they were considering working somewhere else because of the traffic and pedestrian congestion. There were some other changes. 5 new flagship retail stores opened, raising the standard of shopping. Retail rents around Times Square increased and continue to grow. Property owners were happy. Businesses had more customers, and it's a sign that sales are up and retailers are doing well. Bahnhofstrasse is the very successful prime retail street in Zurich. It's largely car-free, with light rail running its route over a distance of 1.25 kilometres. We know that the level of activity on the streets is important. I said before that congestion on footpaths is a problem, but streets that are empty or too quiet are also undesirable. The most successful parts of Bahnhofstrasse are active, and they're around the high-end retail area. By taking a staged approach to pedestrianising George Street, will allow us to get the level of activity and pedestrian density right. Zurich's experience also showed the importance of direct connections from the pedestrian area to the major public transport routes. And we have that in Sydney. George Street provides direct access to 4 of the city's major railway stations: Central, Town Hall, Wynyard and Circular Quay. Closer to home, we also looked at Melbourne's Swanston Street. Over the years, it's been closed and then partially reopened to traffic, and last year it was confirmed that private cars would be phased out for good. Of course, the trams continue to run along it. Without cars, there'll be a stronger focus on pedestrians and improved amenity. This is what we want for George Street. Swanston Street doesn't work like a long retail spine. People use it to move up and down and across the city. It gives structure to the retail area and is key to its success. This is how we need to think about George Street, not as a long linear mall. By focusing on developing the pedestrian or shared zones in the laneways and the connections through buildings and arcades, we're creating the conditions in Sydney for this network of retail activity. It's an opportunity to expand the retail area and also to create the sense of a series of smaller, compact zones, each with their own distinct character. Successful global cities need this capacity to grow to maintain their primacy. We know that by changing how we use our city, it'll be good for people, good for the environment, and good for business. Thank you.